And let's get some more insight on last night's vice presidential debate with my guest. Ryan Clancy is the chief strategist from the group No Labels, and he's up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Ryan, good to see you tonight.
Likewise.
Let's talk about what we saw. I think what I've seen from most reviews, not so much about the substance, but about the fact that we had two men who agreed to disagree on a host of issues. There was no name calling. There was no finger pointing. This was unlike most debates we've seen in recent years.
It really was a complete 180 from the first Harris-Trump presidential debate, where what struck out to me is, and others noticed this, I don't think the whole time Trump even looked at Harris once. The animosity the two of those had for one another was so apparent. And then you look at last night, one of the things, and I actually did a little research this morning, one of them said, "I agree with you," 11 different times. That is the first time those words have been uttered in a debate since 2016.
That's incredible.
Very unusual. Yeah.
And you can make the argument that this was a Midwestern nice versus Midwestern nice with a senator from Ohio and a governor from Minnesota. But we did see some moments where, there was some acrimony. I think every debate's going to have that. There was the moment where the moderators sort of stepped in, did what they perceived to be a fact check. It didn't sit well with the Republican Party, didn't sit well with J.D. Vance at that moment there. But we did get a sense of some plans and some insight into not necessarily the number two on the ticket, but how they would serve their number one on the ticket.
There was a ton of substance in this debate. I mean, one thing I would credit both of them with, I mean, they clearly did their homework. They were citing specific pieces of legislation and very particular proposals. So they did their work. I mean, there was a real contrast. If you tuned into that debate last night looking for a pretty distinct vision on where to take the country, you did get that.
In this back and forth, I mean, we've had how many debates where it's been two candidates on stage, whether presidential or vice presidential, no labels, of course. I had worked on some efforts to perhaps bring a third party into the mix. You decided not to do that this time around. Was this a debate? Did we see two candidates out there that did make an effort to appeal to people who don't subscribe to either ideology? Was there a concerted effort, or did that just happen incidentally?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was absolutely strategic. Both of them were out competing one another to seem reasonable and decent and likable. And I think the thing they were looking at is there are still 18% of voters right now, if you look at the latest polls, who are still undecided. That's who they're trying to talk to. I mean, I think they went into the debate last night knowing, hey, we've got our people. They're going to turn out. No doubt over the course of this next month, there'll be plenty of red meat thrown out at rallies by their respective presidential candidates. This was their last chance to make a sale to that vast middle that is still looking to make up its mind.
Do we lose, though? Do we as voters lose by not having one more debate with the presidential candidates? Because, look, these are two guys. The vice presidential position is obviously crucial. I mean, we always talk about being a heartbeat away from the presidency. It was certainly a consideration on the Democratic side 4 years ago, and this year, the Republican side as well. Does that matter?
We definitely lose. I mean, look, every year since the mid-'70s, there's been at least 3 presidential debates, at least scheduled. Now, we only actually had 2 in 2020 because of COVID. And then the other thing is the vice presidential debate always comes sandwiched in between presidential debates. So the last thing you hear is from the presidential candidates. In this case, this is probably it. The fact that we've only heard one time from Harris and Trump, that's a problem, especially given the fact that, and there's been plenty of reporting on this, there hasn't been a lot of interviews of the Harris campaign in particular. So I do think we're going to find ourselves, voters are going to go into the voting booth without maybe all the information they deserve.
And the last thing I want to ask is, a lot of people are talking about certain moments, and Tim Walz clearly went in off the bat, seemed nervous, misspoke. That school shooter comment, I think, obviously a misspeak there, but when it came to that Tiananmen Square response, he was all over the place. And I'm curious if you think that are there people that see that and say, I'm not sure if this guy knows what he's talking about?
Look, I think the issue there, the school shooter statement, everybody knows that was just flub and it's a little embarrassing.
Bad flub, but
it doesn't get anything deeper. I think that the challenge with the China-Hong Kong example is does that get at a character issue? Because he kind of got caught in, maybe I wasn't entirely truthful about what I said. So we'll have to see. I mean, look, typically these vice presidential debates don't matter. But of course, the difference this year is typically they're not the last major forum that voters have to hear from the campaigns. And in this case, they are. So this year, maybe it does matter.
Ryan Clancy from No Labels. Ryan, I appreciate it. Good to see you tonight.
Thanks, Jim.
And our Final Five is back after this.